This is going to be a topic that's a little harder for me. I want to talk about the emotional impact of having this diagnosis. So basically on this channel so far I've shared how you get HIV, what are the symptoms, what to do if you get diagnosed with it. But today I haven't talked about this because it's so painful, and that's the emotional journey that I've been on these last 2 years. I didn't know such devastation could happen to my family. I felt like I already had enough grief, more than my share in the past 2 decades. And honestly, I've been writing about my grief journey for 2 decades. My sister died in 2000 at the age of 53 from a massive heart event. My dad died in 2009. My mom died in 2010 on Christmas Eve when she wandered outside the locked doors of her facility, and she died from hypothermia. That was a hard one. My brother-in-law also died from a massive heart event. We adopted a sibling group of 3 children to add to our 2 biological ones, and the adoption was filled with trauma and abuse from their home of origin, and they brought that into our home, and 2 out of the 3 ended up having to go to a group home, and 1 never came back to live with us. I've been in recovery from the trauma of living through those heartbreaking years, and then to learn that I had HIV and AIDS, it just felt like it was more than I could bear. I've gone through all the emotions. The anger at being helpless when given a sexually transmitted disease I certainly didn't ask for or expect. The shock and dismay of realizing my 35-year marriage was an absolute betrayal. The fear of being looked down upon and shunned because of a virus so few people really understand. I've been in counseling for 6 years, and I thank God for that every day. The first day I stepped in that office was the beginning of true healing for me and the end of my marriage. It was a time for me to learn to believe in myself again, knowing that I wasn't broken, I was recovering, to see there was hope and a new, better future was possible. So if you follow me on any social media, you know I am constantly saying go to counseling. I think even the healthiest people in the best emotional state go to counseling. I believe in it. I believe in it so much. I've wept and struggled and put on a face so that I could process all this through the last 2 years, and I wanted to do so privately in my own time. There's also estrangement in my family, and that has broken my heart even more than the divorce. There were many days I couldn't even see straight, days where I didn't think I could handle one more thing. And yet, my friends and family rallied around me from June 8th, 2021, which was the day of the diagnosis, to July 29th of this same year. My friends will tell you I was like a bat out of hell. I found a little cottage just around the corner from the home my husband and I had shared for 30 years and where my kids were raised. I moved in 7 weeks later. It was amazing. I got a separation agreement to protect both myself and my financial future. I got our house on the market as soon as possible, and I was desperate to have a home that was a safe haven for me again. And what my real job is, I write a DIY home blog where I share all these home projects. So that's been interesting, coming from a 2,000 square foot home to a 1,000 square foot home and sharing that journey with my followers. I felt like a ghost walking around those first few months, normal on the outside while grieving deeply on the inside. And I was still sharing on social media at this time, and I wasn't ready to tell the complete truth at that time. And I truly felt like I was dying on the inside. My journals are packed with the tears and utter devastation of the worst situation I could ever imagine. It hasn't just been the physical trials that I've suffered, but the unanswered questions and the unknowns that will never become clear. It's learning to close the door to the past and open a new one to the future. It takes tremendous courage and desire to keep moving forward. I know that God was present at every one of the hundreds of decisions that were made in such a short amount of time. I believe with all my heart He gave me the home that I have now, and I share on my regular blog, as I mentioned, Marty's Musings. I literally moved around the corner from one of my bestest friends. So she had moved in 2 months before the diagnosis, and this sweet friend, who I call my walking buddy, kept me moving, kept me eating, kept me making decisions as my heart was breaking. I slowly let in one friend after another, and telling the story became easier. I remember just saying HIV for the first time, and I felt like I was going to choke or throw up. Yet, over these last 2 years, it has become my truth. And I'm not ashamed, because I did nothing wrong. So as you watch these videos, I hope you'll know that these 2 years have been filled with deeper pain than I could ever have imagined. Yet there have been blessings I didn't expect. Know that you are not alone in whatever crisis you may be facing today. Sending hope and much love to each of you.